Welcome to Unleash the Goats, where we unleash ourselves upon the Star Wars franchise with reckless abandon, and nobody quite knows what we'll say next, least of all us. Hey, Nat, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Nat, she, her. I was so expecting you to say that part, and I'm like, wait, that's a different person.
Hey, Angela, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Angela /Faye, she, her.
And I didn't say mine. So I'm Sugar, also she, her.
Angela, happy birthday month.
Happy birthday month!
It's my birthday month. I'm very excited.
Good, as you should be. I just remember, I have a question for you. A birthday question for you.
Okay.
If you could change one thing in the Star Wars fandom so that everyone agreed with you on one thing, what would it be?
Everybody should talk about Shmi.
Okay.
All of the time.
It's not even like agreeing with you, it's just like talking about it. They could be talking shit about
That's
her.
true.
Everyone should agree that Shmi is great and the origin of everything. Yeah, I think that'd be my number one thing. I mean, I guess the obvious answer is actually that everyone should agree that the Jedi are awesome and cool and not morons and corrupt. Like, that would be nice.
But Shmi, number one.
It's more important that Shmi gets her accolades than the Jedi.
I love that.
For me personally.
Okay.
But I guess the fandom itself would be more improved if we all agreed that the Jedi were cool.
But but this is improving the fandom for you and not for everyone
me,
else.
yes.
For you personally.
If it's just for me, everyone gets to talk about how cool Shmi is everywhere.
It's alright, Faye. She can ask me the same question on March.
Yeah.
And I'll
I hope you
my
forget
answer.
about it between now and then so that you can be surprised by it.
I definitely will. My memory's terrible.
Yours comes first. You'll be in February. We'll have to figure out a good one for you because you don't participate in the fandom.
She won't remember this question either.
They're like, what do you want to change about the fandom? And I'm like,
You're
there's
like-
a fandom. Today we're doing a weird thing.
A weird thing. This is my special request because I thought it'd be fun.
I really hope that it will be fun, and if it's not fun, I take responsibility for that.
I think it was your brainstorm, but it was Faye's request for her birthday, so.
That's true. I stole this idea from, if beloved listeners would like to get to know me better, my most listened to podcast is Not Another D&D Podcast. And on their Patreon, they do a lot of episodes calling back to a podcast they used to do called 8-Bit Book Club, where they would read books about video games. And some of those books were Choose Your Own Adventures. And so they read Choose Your Own Adventures books together, and it's stupid and hilarious. And I discovered that there exists a trilogy called Choose Your Own Star Wars Adventure that was published, hang on, this first one was published in 1998.
Ooh.
I have it in my hands.
It's beautiful.
Before I start, because what we're gonna do, this one is A New Hope. Did I say that already?
You did not.
This trilogy is just the 3 movies, but with a self-insert.
I love it.
Which,
So it's like if you wrote the movies instead of George Lucas.
yes, and if you
To some
said
degree.
Luke Skywalker is really cool, what if I was also there? Before we get started, do either of you have a relationship with Choose Your Own Adventure books? Have you read those? Are you familiar with them at all?
I love to do adventure books. I remember one that, I don't remember anything else about the book, but I know at one point the bad ending you get was you could get turned into a mosquito, and then, a 3-year-old would kill you when you, went in through her window to bite her.
That checks out.
It was great. It was a fantastic Choose Your Own Adventure book. I don't know why you got turned into a mosquito. I remember nothing else about it, but I remember very distinctly just you're a mosquito and you go through the window. Ooh, delicious blood. And then she rolls over in her sleep and smacks you, and that's the end. It was great.
Well, that experience isn't universal, but...
But we had many of them when I was a kid, various just adventures. I don't think they were really based on anything. They were just, adventures and stuff. I think there was, one in space, but we really enjoyed them. Loved them in my house.
Yeah, Choose Your Own Adventure is its own franchise, which is why this is Star Wars Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Because Choose Your Own Adventure is a specific guy. I had a couple as a kid, and one of them I died every single time. I could not figure out how to beat it, even though I cheated, and I kept my finger in the page when I made decisions, and I went back after I died. So hopefully this one goes better.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Sugar, you have no familiarity.
I mean, I know what it
sounds
is,
like.
and I'm sure I did
Yeah.
like some level of choose your own adventure as a kid, but it wasn't something that was like a primary part of my growing up. Um, I mean, like the most recent experience I've had with it, which is going to make Faye laugh, but my most recent experience with choose your own adventure would probably be the Mass Effect series,
Incredible.
which is like it's not quite like towards the end it is because there is an ending that you kind of get to choose. Um, but like that's about as close as I've gotten to a choose your own adventure in probably about 2 decades.
I love that. So this will be fun. Do you guys want to jump in? Do you want to make any predictions?
I think that we're gonna die in the garbage disposal.
Okay.
I would love to die in the garbage disposal. Omi can take my life. It's fine.
I really hope that that's an ending that we can possibly get. I think that'd be really fun for us.
I have no idea. I did flip through it, and I'm a little bit worried that it might take a minute for us to be able to make decisions. So that's always fun. Please interrupt me at any and all points. Here we go. Also, if I say something wrong, call me out, because I'll absolutely mispronounce things. Oh, that's the other question I have. When was the last time the two of you watched A New Hope? Because for me, it was within the past 6 months, which is crazy.
I think I last watched it when I was doing a full series rewatch in like 21. I think
Okay.
so, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like mine would have been similar because I feel like I did a marathon shortly after I started getting started getting into Star Wars as like a bigger fan for the first time. So that would have been probably 2 or 3-ish years ago myself.
Okay. Are we ready? To set the scene. You live on your parents' moisture farm on the planet Tatooine. I don't know if you've heard of it.
So are we just Luke?
No. A dust ball covered with wind-driven sands and rolling dunes. You hear the exciting stories of the Empire and the Rebellion, and you dream that soon you'll get off Tatooine. As your best friend Luke Skywalker often says,
So we're
if there's a bright center to the universe, Tatooine is the planet farthest from it. Does he say that? Is that canon?
Yes.
Oh.
He tells that to C-3PO when C-3PO asks where the fuck they are.
Interesting. Okay. Luke also wants to get off Tatooine to do what so many of your friends have done, attend the Imperial Space Academy and become a pilot. Late one night, you are lying in bed thinking about becoming a fighter pilot. Though you know you should be thinking about the Imperial Navy, your thoughts are more and more of the rebels. There's something cool about the rebels, and everyone knows the Emperor is evil. Remember, this was written in 1998. Suddenly, you hear a whisper outside your window. Hey. It's Luke. He lives with his Uncle Owen and Aunt... Oh my god, I don't know how to say her name.
Baru.
Baru, you put the emphasis on the end? Okay. His Uncle Owen and Aunt Baru, who have their own moisture farm not far away. And we're turning...
We should have a name for our character.
Oh, we should. It's your birthday,
I vote
Faye.
Bejezus.
Bejezus?
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
It sounds Star Wars to me.
Yeah.
Bejezus.
Close enough.
Sugar was like, I don't care.
I'm terrible at coming up with names. I would have needed a Star Wars name generator for this question.
Oh. Okay. Bejezus.
Sure.
Okay. Here we go. Hi, Luke, Bejezus answers quietly. What brings you here this late? If your uncle finds out you left the farm, he'll be pretty mad. I'll be in bigger trouble if I don't get our new droid back, Luke mutters. What do you mean, you ask? What happened to the new droid?
He stops to
And
ask
which
for
one?
help.
That gold protocol droid? C-3PO? No, the little R2 unit, Luke explains. Set the scene.
So Luke is like, oh, I'm going to sneak out in the middle of the night and go get my friend. And we're going to go do this together.
Yes. He's like, we lost the droid. It was the strangest thing. Uncle Owen had me clean them up and I triggered a holo recording. The little droid just kept repeating part of the holo vid over and over. What was it? Bejezus asks. Who was it is more like it, Luke answers. This girl. The prettiest girl I've ever seen. With a message for someone named Obi-Wan Kenobi, I couldn't get the whole message to play. Did you try taking off the restraining bolt? Bejezus asks. Sometimes those bolts can botch other droid functions. I did that, but that made the droid even more excited, and then the message disappeared completely, Luke says. By the way, the restraining bolt goes nowhere. We're just turning the page. I'm going to be in so much trouble, Luke continues. I'm making him a 90s teen. After dinner, I went to check on them, and R2 had run away. Run away? Bejezus asks in surprise. How far can an R2 unit get on the sand? Far enough, obviously, Luke replies, frustrated. So do you think that Obi-Wan is related to that crazy old hermit, Ben Kenobi, you ask? For sure.
That's a great connection that we made, like, really quickly.
That's a connection
We're
that
so
we just
smart.
made. Yeah.
Yeah, we're geniuses.
Does Luke make
I
that
love this.
connection?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He does. He does. I'm sorry. Because he then shrugs and says, I asked Uncle Owen about him. He said that Obi-Wan Kenobi lived around here a long time ago, but he's dead now. Anyway, listen. I came over here to ask if you'd come with me tomorrow. Not tonight. I'm taking C-3PO to look for R2, and I could use an extra pair of eyes. Sure, buddy.
Why aren't we
you
going
say. All you
tonight?
have to
We
do
should
is
go there
ask.
now.
I know.
Do
But
we
that's
get to
not a
choose
choice.
that?
No, we still can't choose. We might skim until we can make choices.
That's a great idea.
You'll probably get in trouble for missing breakfast, but Luke needs help, and he's going to get in much bigger trouble if he doesn't bring R2-D2 back to the farm.
Does
Turn
he
to
wait
page
until
48.
the morning in the actual game?
He does.
He waits into the morning. You set off across the desert in Luke's land speeder with C-3PO at the controls. You search the horizon with handheld scanners. I can't believe you're letting a droid pilot your speeder, you say. C-3PO seems upset, as usual.
Is that in the book, or was that just your own comment?
No, that C-3PO seems upset. Oh no, it, as usual is me. He says, I'll have
I was
you
going to
know.
say, wow, we know a lot about C-3PO.
Yeah. Who we just met.
Yeah.
I'll have you know that piloting ground effort vehicles like Master Luke's land speeder is one of the secondary functions for which I have been programmed. He sniffs. In addition, it leaves Master Luke free to scan for some sign of R2. You look over and see that Luke is smiling. I forgot to mention that C-3PO is a bit sensitive, he says. You don't see anything.
I don't see anything.
You don't see anything.
There's nothing?
And you say there's nothing here. You don't see any Jawas. You don't see any sand people. But we can turn to page 57 to look around. And oh my god, look, it's R2.
We found him.
R2 says apparently he needs to see Obi-Wan Kenobi. It took us no effort to find him because we didn't make any choices.
Wow.
R2 says sand people are coming. So scary.
Wait, R2 says that and we understand it?
Well,
we
R2...
speak binary?
No.
Oh, okay.
R2 beeps loudly and then C-3PO translates.
Oh, okay.
And says there were several creatures of an unknown type approaching from the southeast. And Luke says, sand people. Let's take a look. Sure.
I say, no, let's go home.
This is our first choice. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm ready.
Then you hear screams as a Tusken Raider jumps up right in front of you. You shout an alarm and dive out of the way as it attacks you with a club. Luke also jumps clear, but now there are more of them and you realize they could easily kill you both. You see a hole in their swarm. For a moment, you wonder if you should run. If you run, turn to page 14. If you stay and fight, turn to page 69.
Run.
Nice.
So do we... 69. We gotta go to 69. I'm sorry.
You want to stay and fight?
Well,
She wants
I mean,
69.
I wasn't gonna, but then they said it was on page 69 and now I have to.
Sugar?
I was gonna run away and then they're like, no, it's 69 if you stay. And I'm like, okay.
All right, let's go 69.
Okay,
Let's give
you
Faye what
decide
she
to
wants.
stay and fight. Even though you know your situation is hopeless, you can't abandon your best friend.
I was gonna.
I was good, yeah.
Both of you are knocked down. As you're about to black out, you hear a horrible roar. Blah, blah, blah. Then there's a figure who pulls back its hood. You recognize the bearded, white-haired old man immediately. Ben Kenobi, you cry. And hello to you too, Ben replies. Is that Luke Skywalker with you?
Wait, Ben recognizes us?
No.
Well, I mean, we knew
you
about
say
him.
Ben Kenobi, and he's like, hello. It
But, I
doesn't-
mean, we knew
Oh,
who
okay.
he
he doesn't
was.
say
There's
Bejezus.
there's a comment about, like, is he related to old Ben Kenobi? So clearly we know about, like, who he is. So he might...
If I were a hermit, I wouldn't know about everyone else, but everyone would know about me.
That's fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's like famous, but famous people don't know who I
He
am.
could, like, recognize your face as, like, I've seen you at the market, but not know your name.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. Or, I mean, he watches Luke all the time.
And we're his best friend. We're Luke's best
And-
friend. How does
Exactly.
Obi-Wan
Yeah,
not
we're
know?
Luke's best friend.
Luke's
Luke
best friend.
Skywalker
Exactly.
is our best friend. Our best
Yeah.
friend, Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Ben says, what brings you two out this far? No, we have to tell him. Archie beeps and whistles from his hiding place, and then rolls across the hard-packed sand towards old Ben. Ben. I'm good at reading.
Man.
Bam.
Man.
We got real Southern
You're
for a
Southern
second.
now.
Yeah.
Luke
Right
says,
now.
this little droid here, I think he's searching for his former master. I've never seen such loyalty in a droid. There's no stopping him. He claims to have been the property of someone named Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is that a relative of yours? Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben exclaims. Why, that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Then you know him? Bejezus asks. Know him? I should think so. He's me, Ben says
How
happily.
dare they change that line? I'm so mad. It would have taken 2 seconds.
Then R2 belongs to you? Luke asks Ben. I don't seem to recall ever owning a droid, Ben replies, but we really ought to get inside before the Sand People come back. They're easily frightened, but they won't stay away for long. Do you guys think that it's reasonable for Ben to be like, I don't recognize this R2 unit?
100%.
Yeah.
Really?
If I was in Obi-Wan's situation and I knew that little droid who causes so much problems over the course of the Clone Wars, I'd be like, absolutely, I'm not responsible for any crimes he's committed. Yeah. I have no responsibility. Cannot say, if he stole your wallet, I'm sorry, I've never seen him before in my life.
He's also just giving, like, you know, the politician's answer, right? Because what he says in canon, I mean, he says in here too, I think, is I don't recall ever owning a droid. He doesn't actually specifically deny having owned R2-D2. You know, he just says, I don't remember having once owned a droid. And, like, in fairness, he never owned R2-D2. Like, he is not, in fact, R2-D2's master at any point, you know? I mean, he was, like, giving orders to R2 every so often during the Clone Wars, but, like, you know, he technically has never owned R2-D2, and he does kind of demur around the question as it is. You know, and he's like, he doesn't know how much Luke knows. He doesn't know what R2 is here for. So I think at this point in time, it is reasonable for him to be a little bit circumspect.
Also, technically, protocol would have been that R2-D2 got his memory wiped the same way C-3PO did, and he didn't. But Obi-Wan doesn't know that, so he can't go, like, saying stuff that, like, R2-D2 might have no idea who he is. I mean, clearly he knows something, but, like,
that's true.
He knows he belonged to Bail for years, too, so, like, he doesn't know what Bail has told him, like, he doesn't know the level of knowledge a droid has, so he can't give away too much without compromising whatever operation is going on.
Also, I don't know if it's Luke misinterpreting things, or if it's R2 also being circumspect, but, like, I mean, like, R2 just says, I'm looking for Obi-Wan, right? He doesn't technically say, like, my master is Obi-Wan. I think Luke is making some assumptions here.
Luke is absolutely making some assumptions.
Unless it's like, you know, R2 has gone like, oh, I am in fact looking for my master Obi-Wan as a way to disguise what it is he's doing here, because R2 is smart enough to know that he can't be going like, I'm here to give a secret message to this secret Jedi master. And so he's just like, oh, I am a poor lost little droid trying to get a message to my old master. You know, like, either one could be true. So there could be a number of things where Obi-Wan is picking up, like, thing funky's happening here. Let me just play along a little bit. Without actually lying.
I love the direction that this went with his politician answers. Please allow me to read you the next page.
Okay.
Ben leads you to his small home. He walks to a corner where he opens a small wooden chest and retrieves a metal cylinder that looks like a handle with buttons. I was once a Jedi Knight, Ben says.
Listen, they're inside now.
There's no cameras in here.
He said, the Sand People, they can't know, but you two, you're good. You're a Jedi.
I'm so chill with Jesus knowing this information.
But Jesus is so fine. Yes, Ben continues. A long time ago, when the Jedi were the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, I served alongside your father, Luke. My father wasn't a Jedi,
father?
Luke says.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Never mind.
No.
I was going to say, I heard your father, and I was like, wait, but
Jesus also had a Jedi?
No. But Jesus' parents have the moisture farm.
Okay, yeah. But, like, he could be secretly adopted. We don't know.
That's true.
Sure.
We don't know for sure. Luke says he was a navigator on a spice freighter. That's what your Uncle Owen wants you to think, Ben explains.
Your dad was a drug dealer.
The life of a Jedi is dangerous, and your uncle doesn't want that for you. But your father was a cunning warrior and the best star pilot in the galaxy. He would have wanted you to have this.
I just need to cut in here and say I really appreciate that they chopped out the part of this quote that has Obi-Wan claim Anakin was a good friend.
I was about to say that. They were like, in this version of the universe, he was not a good friend.
No.
To be fair, in that version of the universe, he's not a good friend. He murders Obi-Wan's entire family. like
it's fine.
Like, you know, he might have once been a good friend.
He says he was a good friend.
Well,
not that he remained a good friend. Just that he was at one point.
But to be fair, he also talks about Obi-Wan being, about Anakin being dead. You know, so it would be past tense regardless of whether it was true or not. But I do appreciate that Christopher Golden decided that was not a necessary part of this quote.
He's like, of these three qualities, this is the one that least applies. We're going to take this one out.
Next. Fuck Anakin.
Padme did. It caused a lot of problems.
Oh my god. Okay. Ben hands the cylinder to Luke. Luke presses a button and a long beam of light flashes, extending out about a meter. It's a lightsaber, the weapon of a Jedi, Ben says. Continue your lesson on page 13. Which is interesting because we're not involved in this scene at all.
We're just watching in awe.
We're just here.
We're just here. Ben then explains about the Force, the energy field that connects all living things and from which Jedi Knights get their power. But the Force, he explains, has a dark side, to which some Jedi, like his former student, Darth Vader, have fallen prey. Suddenly, R2 begins to beep urgently. Go on, R2, Bejezus says. Show us this urgent message. I don't know why the message plays now. Oh, this will be fun. We waited
a long time.
Y'all can tell me if this is accurate. General Kenobi begins a holograph of a beautiful girl. Remember, she's so hot. This is the only character trait she has.
It's really important.
To be fair, she's only been able to say, 4 words as of yet in this story. So, beautiful is the only personality trait she can have.
Yes. Years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now we beg you to help us in our struggle against the Empire. I have placed information vital to the security of the rebellion into the memory system of this R2 unit. You must see this droid safely to my father on Alderaan. Please help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Accuracy?
Was that...
That's accurate.
Is that accurate? Okay. So yeah, pretty accurate. She remembers that one. Or he remembers.
He remembered that one. Good job, Christopher.
Good.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
You can see that he is intrigued by the girl. She is Princess Leia Organa of the royal house of the planet Alderaan, Ben explains. Officially, she is an imperial senator, but secretly, she is a leader of the Rebel Alliance. A princess?
How does he
Very
know that?
impressive. Turn to page 91. Again, no choices.
Just giving all this random information to Bejezus.
Yes.
Very, very trusting of Bejezus here, Obi-Wan.
Now then, Luke, Ben continues, still called Ben, you and your young friend must learn the ways of the Force if you're to accompany me to Alderaan.
Oh, wait,
we don't get a lightsaber,
sensitive?
but we do.
We don't get a lightsaber.
Slay!
Both of you stare at Ben in shock. You have responsibilities to your family, and Luke's Uncle Owen would be pretty angry if Luke just up and left the planet. On the other hand, Bejezus says to Luke, I've been looking for some adventure, and my parents have plenty of help on the farm. I'll bet they'll be proud of me for helping the rebellion. Good for you, Luke says, but not me.
Are we a human?
I don't know. Are we? We can decide.
We can probably decide that.
Do you want to be human? We could be something else. Can we be the thing with the space eyes, like Greedo?
Yes.
Oh, the Rhodian.
Yeah!
I mean, yes, we probably could. I get the feeling they wouldn't like Tatooine much, but I guess Greedo's on Tatooine.
That's true. We could be something else if you prefer.
I mean, fuck it, Greedo lives on Tatooine, so logically, we're an aquatic, that would be an aquatic creature, and they should not be doing well on Tatooine, but if Greedo's...
It's a moisture farm.
It's a moisture farm. Sure,
yeah.
Sure, yeah, we're a Rhodian.
Oh, I remember Greedo.
There we go.
I had to Google him.
He's got big star eyes. He's pretty.
Padme has an uncle that's also Rhodian.
Oh, that's right, in the Clone Wars episode.
And I can't remember two technically. I think he's in 2 episodes, but I don't remember what his name was.
One of the little Jedi babies that gets lost in the ice. They're also a Rhodian.
Yes, Ganodi.
Yeah.
I remember her name. I liked her.
That's crazy.
She's the smallest one. She's 2 inches tall.
Oh.
Everyone else is a head taller than Ganodi.
A baby.
No, I know. I liked her a lot.
Okay, so we're going with Ben.
We say we're going with Ben. Luke says no. I'd like to help you, but I've been gone so long already, I'll be in big trouble when I get home. I can take you both as far as Anchorhead, and then you can get transport to Mos Eisley Spaceport from there.
I mean, fuck it. What do you need Luke for? You got another Force-sensitive person, I guess.
But he doesn't. But you can't have the lightsaber.
Well, I have no compunctions about killing Vader like Luke does. So
that's true.
I don't have any issues with that, so I feel like I'm the better option anyway.
Right? Exactly.
Bejezus to save the
100, we
galaxy.
should be going with Bejezus here.
Okay, so we all climb onto the land speeder. Suddenly, you spot smoke on the horizon. Luke pilots the land speeder in that direction. It's a huge Jawa sandcrawler, and it's on fire. It has been attacked, and all the Jawas have been killed. At first, it seems as though the Sand People have done it, but upon investigation, you discover clues that point to the Imperial soldiers Ben says are called stormtroopers. They probably destroyed the sandcrawler
As if
because
Luke
they
does
were
not
looking
know
for
this?
R2 and C-3PO. Well, but Jesus doesn't know it.
Okay, fair enough.
But Jesus senses great danger. Oh no, Luke exclaims. They must know by now the Jawas sold the droids to Uncle Owen, and that would lead them back. Luke turns and runs to the land speeder. You have only a moment to decide whether to go with him or stay with Ben and the droids. If you go with Luke, turn to page 6. If you stay with Ben, turn to page 26.
Stay with Ben.
You want to stay with Ben?
I want to go. Yeah, stay with Ben. Stay with Ben. That's a safer option.
Okay.
He's running off. He's causing problems.
You realize that getting R2 to Alderaan is the top priority. You stay with Ben as Luke jumps in the land speeder and rushes back to the farm alone. While he's gone, you help Ben make a funeral fire for the Jawas. When Luke returns, he is filled with rage and terrible grief. The stormtroopers have destroyed the farm and killed his aunt and uncle. There was nothing you could have done, Luke, you say. Indeed, Ben agrees. If you had been there, you would have been killed as well, and the droids would now be in the hands of the Empire. I want to come with you to Alderaan, Luke says, to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. You're interested,
We're gonna do it together.
Too. Turn to page 114. Okay, this happens so fast. You've never been to Mos Eisley Spaceport before. You all know it's the only place to find a pilot with a ship to take you from Tatooine to Alderaan. You have a drink of water with Luke.
We have water.
Just water.
Just water?
At the cantina.
We're babies. We can't have...
We're
19.
But Jesus is 19.
Luke is 19. We don't know that Bejezus is 19.
Oh, that's true.
That's
How
true.
old is Bejezus?
37.
37! Our best friend... Okay. Our best friend is a 19-year-old.
Listen, it's a small town.
That's fair.
You gotta take your friends where you can get them.
Okay. Ben joins you at the bar and introduces you to a huge furry Wookiee. Chewbacca's the first mate and co-pilot on a ship that should suit our needs. His captain is over at that table. A man named Han Solo. We'll see if we can buy our passage to Alderaan, Ben explains. Oh, there's a picture! Our listeners can't see it. But my besties can see it, and that's
Who are we supposed to be?
Yeah, which
that's
one's
a great
us?
question.
Are we the one leaning on the table?
I think so. Maybe. Because we're kind of looking at Luke. Which makes us appear to be a human.
Can you
Well,
tell,
that's not accurate.
Are we a human male?
We appear to be androgynous.
Wonderful. We are now non-binary.
Hell yeah.
Binary. They then.
I don't think they've gendered us.
But not so far, no.
It can't be because it's all, second person? You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's talked about us.
No.
This is my friend Bejezus. She's...
Okay. Chewbacca leads you across the bar to a rugged-looking man sitting alone. He wears high black boots, a black vest, and a blaster on his hip. Can I help you, gents? The man asks.
Is it a black
We were
vest?
misgendered.
You gents.
He says gents. They did say a black vest.
Is he wearing a black vest? I thought it was...
Yeah. It is black.
Okay.
Is it not brown? He's not in this picture. I don't know why.
It's
I thought
black.
He would be.
I googled it. His pants are blue, though.
His boots are black. According to Christopher.
But, yeah, his boots and his vest are both black.
Okay.
I appreciate you fact-checking this book.
That's very, very important. We hear you've got a fast ship, you say. I've outrun Imperial starships. If you're worried about speed, the Falcon's fast enough for you, kid. Ben and Han talk money and the deal is done. You've got a ship to take you to Alderaan. But suddenly you find yourself thinking more about the farm and your family. You know your parents will be proud of you when they hear of your adventure, but you're going to miss them, and you didn't even have a chance to say goodbye. If you make your way back home, turn to page 7. If you go with the others, turn to page 85.
Go with the others.
Wait, so our options are to go home?
To go home or to go with the others. We didn't say goodbye.
We'll leave a note.
We'll
With
send
who?
a messenger.
The bartender.
Okay. So I didn't see Greedo die. And I think maybe in this timeline, Bejezus' presence saved him.
I didn't... Is Greedo there at all? He, like...
No, he was not mentioned. Therefore, he's alive.
Yeah, but I think Greedo doesn't die where Luke can see it.
Interesting.
I think in the movie, like, that introduction scene happens, and then he walks over where, like, Chewie is and stuff. So, like, Luke never sees that. And so because we're Luke's best friend, we're tied to his POV.
I see.
So it's unknown whether or not Greedo's alive or not. So...
Yeah.
Greedo could be dead.
Greedo
could be our brother.
Okay. Or are we Greedo?
We're Greedo. This is an alternate timeline where Greedo is actually chill and is force sensitive.
There's been no indication that we're force sensitive.
No, there is.
He said he's going to train us
He's
to be a
going to train both of us in the Force.
Yeah, but like, other than him saying, I'll teach you about the Force, nothing.
Well, I mean, it's not like Luke does anything particularly Forcey at this point either.
That is true.
Like, you have to get trained a little bit first.
That's true.
Like, I think the fact that Obi-Wan is willing to train both of us is a pretty good indication that there's something in us to be trained.
That there's something here in Bejezus.
Because this is not Filoni's bullshit here. This is Christopher Golden's bullshit.
Yeah, this is before Filoni decided you didn't need to be force sensitive to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, it's everybody is force sensitive. Anyone can be
trained.
That's
right. Stupid as hell.
Of course. Anyway, you decide to go help the rebellion. The rebellion must come first.
Must.
So you're coming? Luke says hopefully. Wouldn't miss it, you reply. After all, if I don't come along, who will keep you out of trouble? You laugh together, and you know for certain that you've made the right decision. Good job, team. You sail the land speeder, you go to the docking bay. Inside, however, the Falcon turns out to be less impressive than you imagined. In fact, it looks like a junk heap. That's it? Luke cries. That's the starship we paid an arm and a leg for transport on? What a piece of junk! Chewbacca roars his disapproval about Luke's comments, but you have to agree with him. What a wreck, you say. That just seems unnecessary to me. Han gets mad at you. Chewie and I are kind of sensitive about people making fun of our ship. I'm sure it happens a lot, Bejezus mumbles.
That's totally something Han would say.
That's so mean.
We're so sensitive about our ship. Perfect Han characterization.
Yes, of course. Han is the only one not on board when the blaster fire starts.
Because he's talking to Chewie. Not Chewie, to Jabba.
What?
He's chatting with Jabba.
There's no... Chewbacca roars on Ben, translates telling you to keep your seats, that Captain Solo will be along in a moment. Oh my, C-3PO says worriedly behind you. I hope we'll be alright. R2 beeps and whistles. Well, yes, of course I realize that Captain Solo is in jeopardy also, but oh, never mind, you insufferable rust bucket, 3PO huffs. Rush to page 39. I would like another choice, please, Christopher.
Yeah, we're not getting to choose our adventure all that often.
No! I think it gets better once you answer the call to adventure, I hope. Okay.
We did. We didn't run away. We're so nice.
We what?
We didn't run away.
We didn't run away.
We stayed to fight.
We stayed to fight. Imperial troops, I'd imagine, Ben says as calmly as if you weren't in any danger at all. Oh, to Han when he gets back in. Yeah, somebody doesn't want us taking off without clearance, Han replies gruffly. They're in for a rude awakening. And then you fly away. In space, you discover two giant vessels several thousand times larger than Han Solo's little freighter. Imperial cruisers, Han shouts. You guys are even more popular with the Empire than I thought. To know us is to love us, you joke, but Han isn't in the mood for laughing, and neither is anybody else. The cruisers give chase.
We're actually hilarious.
We're so mean to Han.
Unappreciated in our time.
Han is upset. Chewie hits hyperdrive.
The only time it works.
Yeah. Chewbacca does as he's told, and the Falcon lurches forward. Space bends around the ship, stars whip by faster than the eye can see, and then you are in hyperspace, traveling so fast that the huge Imperial cruisers will never catch you. Later, as you travel through hyperspace towards Alderaan, a trip that will take some time, R2 and 3PO play holo games. Everyone's busy, and then you and Luke can question Ben about the Force and being a Jedi Knight. And once again, we don't get to make a choice. There's another picture. So you can see that this is Luke against the little ball.
We have the
shooting
exact
at him.
same outfit as him.
And then we're just hanging out in the background.
Wow.
We have to take turns with a lightsaber.
That's true. I do like the pose that this person is making.
They look really snazzy.
Yeah. I'm being proven wrong on this page because Ben is teaching us about the Force. I'm going to teach you both how to sense the power that exists in all things that binds us and connects us to the universe and to each other. And so Ben begins to teach you and Luke how to feel the Force, to use it as an extension of your senses. You train quite a bit using Luke's lightsaber to deflect energy bolts shot at you from a small hovering ball. You have some success in your training and can block some of the shots. But Luke surges ahead immediately. Obviously, is far more natural talent as a Jedi than you do.
This is entirely inaccurate.
We're just average Joe Schmo.
Luke is not all that great blocking bolts at this point in canon.
That must mean that we're really bad.
He's like, you know what? I did feel something there at the end. That's good.
Ben feels a disturbance in the Force. Han says we're coming up on Alderaan.
Listen, not to judge George Lucas's writing, but I feel like the whole disturbance in the Force thing would have had, like, a bigger impact if Luke and Obi-Wan had both felt it.
Ooh.
Like, if Luke had, like, suddenly collapsed because he's just barely opened up his senses and is in no way prepared to feel the deaths of millions and billions of people. Like,
yeah.
Retroactively, George, that would have been way better. That would have been way more fun.
Yeah. But Bejezus feels it.
You would have had to react to the Death Star as well when that blows up. If you have him reacting to Alderaan, because it's a similar amount of people.
Yeah, but you could, like, say that, like, he's a little more, like, prepared because he's already felt it once.
He also, like, you could give him... I'm rereading the Aragon series, and so that's where my head's at. But, like, at that point, wouldn't he have slightly more training and be able to, like, disconnect him from that? And, like, have kind of a barrier so he doesn't feel it as strongly as he would when he first opens himself up to the Force?
No, because, like, between
Is that not how it works?
Between Alderaan and the Death Star, there is absolutely no chance for training.
It's, like, 2 days,
true.
yeah.
At best. And like, between, oh my god, Alderaan is gone, and that, like, Obi-Wan dies.
Yeah, but there is, like, less people on the Death Star, and you could, like since you already felt Alderaan, like, you could still have him react to it, though. Like, you could still have him, like, be visibly shaken. Where, like, for Alderaan, like, I think it would be fun if he, like, just literally collapsed, and then, like, for the Death Star, if he was just, like, clearly, like, shaken up and...
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be a victory for the Death Star, too. Like, he's supposed to be really happy with that thing blows.
Right. It would definitely change the tone of, like, the whole scene where he's, like, happy and jumping around and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I understand where you're going with it in terms of, like, you know, Luke being able to feel Alderaan. I think it works, too, though, that, like, Luke doesn't feel it yet because Obi-Wan is the older, more experienced one, and so we as the audience are kind of learning what the Force is and how it works through someone who already knows what to feel for. Whereas Luke is still so naive. He's like, you know, answered a call to destiny, but he still barely understands the world that he's put himself in. He's actually got more explanation in his book than he got in canon. The whole thing with, like, oh, Leia's a princess, but actually she's a secret rebel leader is not information that I think Luke was given in canon at this point. So he's, like, still very naive about everything. So I think it works that he doesn't feel it on, like, an emotional, narrative, thematic level, but I understand what you're saying from, like, a world-building level, that it would have made sense for him to have felt it.
Yeah.
At this point, because he's just starting. But I mean, he barely starts to learn starts to open himself up, because, like, I mean, when he's doing the little ball thing, like, he's mostly using his eyes. Like, you know, Obi-Wan barely gets him to use the Force when he puts the visor down.
The blast shield on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's more that, like, I really enjoy anything that gives Alderaan's death more weight in the narrative.
Which is fair.
Because it does get some, definitely at the beginning, but it does feel like it kind of gets not ignored, but not really brought up.
It's glossed over. Yeah.
Glossed over is a good way to put it. And, like, I always like it when there's more stuff put on it. in, like, you know, fan fiction and stuff, people, like, give it some more weight in the narrative and have it have more meaning.
For sure.
Okay, we're in a meteor shower, and Han is like, Alderaan is gone. And Luke is like, what do you mean? You see a TIE fighter, everyone's confused. Luke says it's headed for that small moon, his voice filled with dread. Ben says, that's no moon, that's a space station. What? Han barks, blah, blah, blah. Luke says, I have a very bad feeling about this. That's important. Han can't turn the ship around. You leave the ship once you're pulled into the station.
Garbage disposal.
Gotta go get our girl first.
With the pretty girl.
Gotta go get the pretty girl.
Okay, you hide in the smuggling compartments as the troops search the ship. Blah, blah, blah. Dressed as the troopers, you, Han, and Luke make your way to the landing bay's command center, blasting through the small crew. A moment later, Ben, Chewie, C-3PO, and R2 join you. Enter the command center on page 36. Christopher, please.
This is basically just a novelization of the book with your self-insert editing.
With your self-insert not doing anything.
We haven't done anything.
R2 finds the control to the tractor beam. Ben says, I must do this alone. You must see the droids delivered safely to the rebellion, or other systems will suffer the same fate as Alderaan. Your destiny lies along a different path than mine. The Force will be with you always. Take your leave. That seems strange. Ben leaves. Okay. R2 has found her. Doesn't say who. This is extraordinary. She's here on the space station, sir. That's true.
There's only one woman on this entire moon. There's one woman here.
Mm-hmm. She's here on the space station, detention block AA-23. What is this droid talking about? Ooh, a choice. Okay. Princess Leia, C-3PO. She's scheduled to be terminated. Luke says, terminated? We've got to help her. Han says, I'm not going anywhere. Blah, blah, blah. Han has a point when he says,
going.
no, I don't want to. Oh, interesting. Jumping ahead. Sugar.
It's
not much better than a suicide mission to try to rescue Princess Leia, but you know she plays a valuable role in the rebellion. The idea of leaving her to die is not very heroic. You're uncertain what to do. If you think that it's too risky to rescue Leia, turn to page 59. If you think that you should rescue Leia, turn to page 19.
We're going.
If we go rescue her, we might end up in the trash.
That's true. I want to be in the trash.
That's the only way to get to the trash.
Okay, let's go rescue her.
Okay, she's beautiful, Han, you say, hoping a pretty girl will get his attention. It doesn't. But Luke has another idea. She's rich, Han, Luke says. A princess. You'll get a huge reward if you save her life. I'll get a huge reward, huh? Han asks. Absolutely, Luke says. Han stares at Luke a moment. Finally, he declares, I'd better.
Where's she getting the money from, Luke?
Off-planet accounts. You know.
That's fine. You take Chewbacca, who pretends to be a prisoner, to the prison levels. You fight all the guards down there. You shoot out the cameras. Oh, this is perfect. Okay. You are now in the prison control room. From outside the block, an officer is shouting questions over the comm in response to the alarm. Detention level AA-23. What's happening? What's going on down there? This is one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars, I think. Because
I
it's
love
so
this
stupid.
scene.
Han goes to the console. This is detention level AA-23. Everything is under control here. Situation normal, Han says. We had a slight weapons malfunction, but everything's perfectly all right now. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? Bad news. Find out why on page 62, as if it wasn't obvious. Ooh, a choice. Okay. We're sending a squad down to your location right now, the officer says. Oh, negative, Han says, fumbling. We had a reactor leak down here. Give us a few minutes to lock it down. Large leak. Very dangerous. Who is this? The officer barks. What's your operating number? You see that Han has run out of patience, but you need to keep the stormtroopers away for a few minutes. Your actions may spell the difference between getting everyone off the space station alive and getting everyone killed. If you take over the console, turn to page 67. If you let Han blast away, turn to page 20.
67.
You want to take over?
Mm-hmm.
I wanna give him a piece of my mind.
I don't think that's what's happening here, but...
You turn to the console. I'm sorry, sir, you bluff. We had a detention officer go a bit stir-crazy down here. He discharged his own weapons, shot the place up a bit, and then started babbling on about radiation. What kind of a show are you running down there, the officer asks angrily, and what is your operating number? That is a question you don't want to have to answer. Obviously, this must be how they recognize one another, you think. But by number rather than name. But how can you just make up a number? The officer is sure to know that it's a fake. Look for a number on page 46. You look at the hat of one of the detention officers that Chewbacca killed.
That's honestly a really smart move.
Honestly, the dead guy. Yeah.
Bejezus is doing so well.
Bejezus is doing so well. On the band is a 9-digit number. It could be nothing, a way to identify laundry maybe, but it's your only chance. I'm getting impatient, the officer barks over the comm. I'm sorry, sir, Bejezus says. I was just issuing orders to have this wild man locked up until we can get a psych evaluator down here, because the Empire has those.
No, they don't.
If you want to send a pair of stormtroopers to escort him up
really
to the medical...
corrupt psych evaluators. It's like specifically there to fuck other people over.
Yes. Yes.
True. If you want to send a pair of stormtroopers to escort him up to the med psych unit, by all means do so. He's obviously not in his right mind, though. Send your toughest troopers. This guy is dangerous, sir. And my operating number is 527-345009, sir. I'd appreciate it if you would include me in your report of this incident, you say, hoping that by sounding as if you want credit for stopping the rampage of a crazed soldier, you may convince the officer that you're really who you say you are. Hope your luck holds on page 112. Honestly,
this is suspenseful.
Smart move. Mm-hmm. The guy says, thank you. If you don't have a visit from a psych evaluator in the next hour, please contact me immediately and I will see to it. But Jesus must have some kind of background, because on a moisture farm, why would you know that the Empire has psych evaluators?
Maybe we failed out of psych school.
Oh.
Maybe we were going to be a psychiatrist, and that's why we went back to the farm, is because we failed out.
Okay. The officer signs off. Han and Chewie are staring at you. Han, you did good, kid, Han says reluctantly. I was having a bit of trouble there. That seems out of character. You're just impatient, Bejezus tells him, and not scared enough of dying. I've got your R2 unit.
That's a valid evaluation. We definitely flunked out of psych school.
Yeah. Luke has Leia. He says, I'm here with Ben Kenobi. He watches Han's eyes widen. He is obviously taken by the princess. She is pretty and very confident, a person used to commanding others. Han says, can we go now? Or is there anyone else you want to free? You've got an attitude problem, flyboy. Leia snaps at Han. Better stow that or it will get you killed. And now they're fighting. Watch more of them fighting on page 79. No, thank you. I already told you, Christopher. This isn't for me. Ooh, another picture.
A picture. Are we putting the helmet on?
We're putting the helmet on.
Okay.
Chewie's behind us. Leia's next to us.
Sorry, go back. Is that picture, are we shorter than Leia?
We do appear to be shorter than Leia.
Oh my god. A short king. We're like 4 foot. Like
we're pretty short.
She's 4'9", and we're like 3 inches shorter than her.
We are kind of like bending our head a little bit.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Like to put the helmet on. So it might only be a couple of things. Okay, you get back to Ben, who is sneaking along. Ben and Leia greet each other warmly, and Ben tells her how sorry he is about the fate of Alderaan and of her father. Han says we have to leave.
Oh my god, did we save Obi-Wan? We saved Obi-Wan.
Did we save Obi-Wan?
Maybe.
Because, we don't end up in the trash compactor. And I guess
we weren't in the trash compactor.
We didn't go to the trash compactor.
Yeah, because we took over for Han, and so he didn't fuck up and have a bunch of soldiers sent down, so we could just, walk out front door.
That's true.
But I guess this means that he didn't have to fight Vader for us.
Yeah. You and Luke fire blaster rifles at them to hold them off, and the ship's engines ignite. You scramble on board as the ramp closes, and the ship rockets away. But
we
Jesus
saved Obi-Wan!
Saved Obi-Wan.
Oh my god! I'm so proud of us!
When you land at the Rebel base, you plan a Rebel attack against the giant space Leia calls the Death Star. Using the plans hidden in R2, Rebel engineers find a flaw in the space station. Thanks to Luke's flying and aim and your and Han's backup, the Death Star is destroyed, and Darth Vader is lost in space in a crippled spacecraft.
Oh shit, we slammed through the end of that.
Wow, we did. We didn't even meet Darth Vader.
With the destruction of the Death Star and the return of the Order of the Jedi, the Empire is dealt several blows from which it will never recover. As time passes, Ben Kenobi begins a new Jedi training program. You and Luke are his first students, and a short time later, Leia joins the school as well. The end.
Fuck yeah, we do.
We saved the galaxy.
I love that they let Leia join.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they?
That's great.
That's huge. That ended so quickly.
So fast. We spent a million years on Tatooine, and then they were just like, and now the Death Star's gone. Boom.
Yeah. And Darth Vader is dead.
He's not dead. He's lost in space.
He's
lost.
lost.
That's true. In his spacecraft.
Who cares about the Emperor?
He's not there.
Yeah.
It's fine. I love the implication that if Obi-Wan just lived, everything would be so easy.
To be fair, this isn't entirely inaccurate.
They're not wrong.
Like,
not wrong.
you get a lot more training. He has all the information. Like, this is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Luke never has to fuck off to Dagobah and, like, disappear for ages. Like,
That's true.
He might, though. I mean, Obi-Wan at some point could be like, it would actually not be a bad idea to go to Dagobah, but it could be way earlier, too. Like, he might not have to wait 3 years.
He could have sent him out for training in the meantime. Like, instead of waiting 3 years to get trained.
Yeah. He's like, okay, let's finish off some of the basics here, and then let's go to Yoda for, like, your emotional well-being.
We can pull Yoda into our school as a therapist. I don't know how well he would do.
He's a Jedi. They're all therapists.
Do you want to see if we'll die in the trash compactor?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had let Han take over.
Thanks. If you let Han blast away, turn to page 20. Okay. Let's see if we die. Well, I guess he won't be bothering us anymore, you say, after Han destroys the console. Han shrugs. Boring conversation anyway, he says. Let's just hope your buddy moves fast and finds the princess. He turns to shout down the corridor. Luke, we're going to have company. The stormtroopers show up. Okay. The stormtroopers come in. They fire at you.
Oh no! I duck.
Han returned fire back into the corridor where Luke has found and freed Princess Leia. Oh my god, the trash compactor. Okay. Luke says, you just blew up our only escape route. Great job. R2 and 3PO have to hide. This is some rescue, Leia shouts. When you came in here, didn't you have a plan for getting out? Han yells, hey, the kid is the brains, sweetheart. The rest of us are just along for the ride.
Excuse me.
Leia shoots a hole through the wall of the corridor. A terrible smell wafts out of the hole, and you realize that the princess has opened an access to the garbage chute. That's huge.
Garbage!
This is accurate to the movie, where Luke has something at his legs.
Yeah.
There's a picture.
The lesbian psycho thing.
Did you say lesbian psycho?
Yeah. The lesbian force-sensitive creature in the trash compactor that wants to mate with Luke and save him.
Because it's a lesbian? I get that. Every lesbian is allowed one man, and Luke Skywalker is a good choice.
I've seen an interpretation that she's not lesbian, but that she's asexual, basically. That she's just uninterested in mating, period, and that she's invested in Luke as, like, a platonic companion, basically.
Yeah.
That's
like a life
fascinating.
partner situation. Yeah.
It comes out of one very specific book that none of us have read, but...
Oh.
It's like a series of short stories of, like, random characters in the Star Wars universe, and she's one of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
called The Baptist, I believe, is her...
Yeah.
Because she baptizes him.
Because she baptizes
Or
him.
wants to. I don't know that she actually does, but...
Well,
she does
dumps
pull him into the water, but...
Yeah. So he's now baptized.
That's true.
Sure. By Omi.
The machine engines start up.
Do we get crushed?
No matter what you do, you cannot stop the walls from closing. Luke, you shout, call 3PO if R2 can shut down the compactor. He's not answering, Luke cries in panic. If you panic along with Luke, turn to page 103. If you stay calm and think of options, turn to page 16.
Well, you want to die, so let's panic.
I do want to panic. Yeah.
Let's panic. You completely lose your cool. Give me that thing, Bejezus shouts, slogging through the sewage to reach for the comm link. No, I'm trying. Just give it a second, Luke says. We don't have a second, Bejezus shouts in a panic and grabs at the small device. Wait, stop, Luke snaps. Too late. You accidentally knock the comm link out of Luke's hands into the sewer water. The two of you fall to your knees in the sewage, searching for the small metal cylinder, but time has run out. Amid screams of pain and the crunch of garbage, you and all your friends are crushed to death inside the trash compactor.
We did it!
Because you lost your cool.
Oh my goodness. We succeeded. We found the trash compactor ending that I was looking for.
Without the plans for the Death Star and the leadership of Princess Leia and Ben Kenobi, which, who's to say that Ben Kenobi
Who's to say Ben
escape?
died?
The rebellion suffers a serious setback and the war drags on for decades. The end.
For decades. They knew where their base was. They were coming for them.
That's true.
Well, I guess they find out the base because of the tracker on the Millennium Falcon. So actually, no.
Well, they have R2 now.
No, well, that's true.
Unless Ben can get R2 and C-3PO off on the Falcon, which he probably could.
He could
if he's not fighting Vader to buy time for Luke, then he could, like, prioritize getting R2 off. Ben would have to complete the mission by himself. So really, I mean, technically, it could still work.
Yeah.
And then Ben just becomes leader of the rebellion.
Yeah.
It clearly doesn't work because Bejezus isn't there.
Right, yeah. But, like,
To be fair, it doesn't work because Bejezus lost their cool. Bejezus fucked over the galaxy on this one.
It's true.
Because we got both Leia and Luke killed.
We did do that. And also Chewie, who's the real tragedy.
That's true. I'm so sorry, Chewie.
You see
It's
what
okay.
you did?
In the first timeline, Leia gets to become a Jedi with us. So
Yeah, in the first
we'll
timeline,
just say
Bejezus
that
saved
one's canon.
everybody by being cooler than Han.
Cooler than
Yeah.
Han. By actually being smart. Han loses his cool.
Listen, it's been a while since they've been in that much, like, fluid, and it's just kind of, it made them crazy.
You have a goat fact.
I do have a goat fact. Goats have 4 stomachs. Their food moves first through the rumen, from which is periodically regurgitated for more cud chewing. So they put it in their stomach, and then they pull it back in their mouth, and they chew it again, and they swallow it again. Then the reticulum, later to the amossum, and finally to the abmossum, which is more like a very sensitive human stomach. So if a goat eats something weird, they will throw it up. They will.
That's fascinating. I think Bejezus is the first stomach that you have to get past. Because we are the most vital to the success of the rebellion.
We made the biggest difference. We made the greatest impact.
We kept Ben alive. Our intro and outro music is Mos Eisley Cantina by Speedkicks. Angela and I edit, our artwork is by me, and Sugar is our writer and researcher. You can find us on Instagram and Tumblr at Unleash the Goats. Thanks for listening.